For joining, and welcome to our third webinar in our 2024 webinar series. My name is Josh Knupp. I'm a senior manager at 3R. Work with a lot of clients in their EcoVadis submissions, and I am very excited to share the virtual stage with Maryam and Rachel, who we'll introduce here in a moment. But otherwise, I think we can jump right in. So a little bit about 3R as a company first. We're the first EcoVadis strategic training partner in North America, a distinction we're really excited about sharing with everyone. And what we do is we are a sustainability consultancy where we help our clients build out their sustainability programs. And you can see on the screen there some of the service areas that we support. But we're looking at sustainability management systems, climate and greenhouse gases, built environment assurance, sustainability reporting, EcoVadis assessments, CDP, really a full service sustainability solutions provider, really focused on using sustainability as a way of building business value into your business. So we do have a few designations there at the bottom we like to point out. We are a certified B Corp. We do have a Platinum EcoVadis medal ourselves, woman-owned business. Yeah, if you'd like to learn some more, there'll be a QR code that you'll see shortly, where you'll be able to sign up for our newsletter and get information on a more consistent basis. So today, as I mentioned earlier, this will be our third webinar. And today we're focusing specifically on sustainability management systems, really what they are and what the benefits of them are, and that connection between sustainability management systems in general and EcoVadis. Something to keep an eye out for is we have two webinars for the rest of this year. One, we're calling it a bonus webinar, but it's really on assurance, specifically on sustainability data assurance, and how this can add value to your sustainability program and also your EcoVadis submission. So that'll be coming up here next month. And then in December, we have our last webinar for the year, which is perfectly timed for companies that are starting to prepare their annual sustainability reports. We'll be talking about how to integrate EcoVadis questions and really utilize that sustainability report to the best way possible to improve your EcoVadis submissions. So before we get any further into this, I do want to introduce Preston Buck, who will be working a little bit in the background to talk about webinar functionality and just some housekeeping notes.
Thanks, Josh. Hi, I'm Preston. I'm a sustainability consultant and business development specialist at 3R. I'll be behind the scenes today, monitoring the chat and Q&A function. So please leave your questions in the Q&A function above. And just so you all know, this is being recorded and it will be shared afterwards more widely. If your question is more specific and we don't get to it on the call, please reach out via our info email or on our website and we'll respond accordingly. That's all for me. I'll hand it back to Josh for panelist introductions.
Thanks, Preston. Yes, so I'll be moderating the panel today, but I'm going to be giving most of the spotlight over to Maryam and Rachel, who will introduce it now. So we're joined by Maryam Bates, who is a senior safety and sustainability manager at Ring Container Technologies. Maryam has really been instrumental in developing and implementing the sustainability initiatives and program at Ring. And one thing I think we're all proud of is Ring did receive a platinum medal in 2023. So the EcoVadis medal, so top 1% of all submitters. And just submitted their 2024 submission very recently. So that is hopefully going to come back positive as well. Maryam, I'll hand it over to you if you want to do a bit more detailed introduction of yourself.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Josh. Just a little bit about our company. So Ring Container Technologies, we are a producer of sustainable plastic containers for the food, agriculture, chemical, and pet food industries. So we have 18 manufacturing locations in the US, one in Canada and one in the UK. So I've been with the company for 6 years, but my background, most of my professional background is in quality and food safety. So I was actually working for Ring for about 4 years before I took on my current role as the senior safety and sustainability manager. But yeah, most of my background was in quality food safety. This is brand new topic for me in sustainability, which was really important for us to have 3R as a consulting firm to help us navigate all of it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mary. And then also our other panelist is Rachel Bukowitz, who is a 3R employee, senior manager at 3R, and an approved EcoVadis consultant. Rachel has great experience and knowledge in the EcoVadis assessment and using the assessment to drive change across our clients' organizations to really enhance their sustainability programs at large. Rachel has supported Ring over the past 3 years or so, kind of along this journey that we'll be talking about today. But Rachel, I'll hand it to you for introduction.
Thanks, Josh. Yes, hi everyone. My name is Rachel Bukowitz. I'm a senior manager at 3R. I oversee our sustainability reporting service line, but in addition to all the work I do around sustainability reports, I also have some longstanding clients such as Ring that I've worked on holistic sustainability program development, which has included submitting to EcoVadis. So very excited to be here today and talk about sustainability management systems. Thanks.
Thanks, Rachel. Without further ado, I think we'll just dive right into some questions. So first, wanted to really start off with an introduction to sustainability management systems and management systems. So Rachel, the first question is for you. If you could give a quick overview of what a sustainability management system is and why it's an important consideration for a company.
Sure. So I think the easiest way to define a sustainability management system is really to break it down. So first, what do we mean when we say sustainability? And then what are we talking about when we talk about management systems? So for the first point on how are we defining sustainability, which working in this field, I am fully aware that there are different definitions that people come to when they are thinking about the word sustainability and what it means. And so for 3R, the way that we define it is using the definition that the Brundtland Commission used, which is sustainability being the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And then on the management system front, you can see on this slide some pieces of what goes into a management system. In general, a system is a set of interconnected parts. And when we're talking about management systems, we are referring to interconnected parts that are helping an organization achieve its business strategy and meet stakeholder needs. And I won't read every word on this slide, but that includes things like outlining values and goals, identifying impacts, risks, and opportunities, outlining roles and responsibilities, and overall aligning business processes and tools. And so bringing that all together, sustainability and management systems, the way that we define a sustainability management system is a set of interconnected parts that's integrated throughout a business, working together to meet the needs of the present without compromising future needs. And overall, this management system puts processes and controls in place to create added business value and drive forward business resilience.
I love that. Thanks, Rachel. And I know a lot of our audience joining today is or will be or has submitted an assessment to EcoVadis in the past. So I do want to keep that kind of top of mind. So as a follow-up question, could you speak a little bit to the significance of sustainability management systems in relation to EcoVadis?
Sure, yes. So this slide lays out the way that I would say EcoVadis is demonstrating the integrated nature of a sustainability management system. It does so through asking organizations to show evidence of policies that they have in place. So this includes things like establishing baselines, setting targets, making commitments. It also asks about actions. So what actions has the organization taken in an effort to meet those targets? And then results. how has the organization monitored the effectiveness or lack thereof of the actions that they've taken? How are they reporting on progress and being transparent? So I would say this is the way that you see the sustainability management system reflected through the EcoVadis assessment.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I see, could you speak a little bit to the plan, do, check, act component here that just popped up on the screen?
Sure. So for those that are familiar with ISO standards and frameworks, Plan, Do, Check, Act is a framework that is often referred to for management systems. And so we wanted to overlay that onto EcoVadis so that you can see how those line up. So I would say from an EcoVadis perspective, the policies is really that planning piece. The actions is the do, right? What are you doing? What actions are you taking? Your results are how you're checking that progress. And then act, it's a cycle of continual improvement. The EcoVadis assessment is annual, and it provides corrective actions after you get your score back. So it's really built in a way to drive continual improvement and really create this iterative process, which at its heart is what a sustainability management system is built upon. In general, just wanted to put out there that EcoVadis is really a great backbone for a sustainability management system because it helps companies to think about their sustainability program holistically and in an integrated nature. It gives companies their sustainability issues based on their industry, size, and location, and really helps an organization to prioritize and then orient themselves within the realm of sustainability. So I'll pause there, but happy to answer questions when the Q&A comes up if there's more questions on this.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the iterations, and in particular, I think with EcoVadis, being an annual assessment really helps that iterative process, where it kind of, I'll use the word forces you to, but it forces you to continue to check everything that you're doing and then enact on it if there's gaps and corrective actions that need to be addressed. So thanks for sharing that. And I think that's really aligned with the system and kind of the ideology of EcoVadis. So thanks. So I do want to transition a little bit from kind of what a management system is to then how do you enact it? What are the benefits? What are some of the challenges that we've come across in practice? So I want to start, we'll call this section the EcoVadis journey, so to speak. So Maryam, I want to hand it over to you to talk a little bit about Ring and describe the journey that you all have gone through as you've built out your program, as you've submitted the EcoVadis. So yeah, thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah. So when we started our journey, I mean, we have put a lot of focus on environmental stewardship. That's just been part of our business for a really long time. So producing a recyclable container, making sure that we meet our customer requirements there. That's been a long-standing aspect of our business. But we were introduced to EcoVadis by one of our customers who challenged us to take the assessment. So we took our first assessment in 2019 and we received a bronze medal. So we really learned that there's a lot more to the term sustainability, rather it's not just environmental stewardship. So there are several other themes, you know, how we are we operating our business ethically, our sustainable procurement, looking at labor and human rights. We were doing a lot of these practices already, but we did not have a well-defined management system around it. A lot of our processes were not documented. So once we got into it a little bit more, we realized that we needed help. This is a really dynamic world, sustainability. So we hired 3R as a consultant to come kind of help us navigate all of this. And so we've made a lot of improvements throughout the year. We started with a 2-tier governance model. We built a data dashboard. We started writing and publishing our sustainability report annually. I think that is part of being transparent is reporting on everything that we're doing as a company. And all of that are positives for EcoVadis. So it was really the building blocks of where we are today. And the progression of our medals throughout the years really shows where we were in integrating sustainability into every aspect of our business. So every department now, from product development to sales to engineering and operations, sustainability has a part in all of that. So I will say our leadership team has been on board since day one. And I think they've been a really big driver of us, of this becoming part of our everyday practice.
Yeah, so many good practical pieces there. I want to pull out a couple in particular, specifically around your governance model. So that you mentioned that you have a two-tiered governance model. So I'd really like to learn more about that, and maybe a little bit about how you've trickled down those goals throughout the organization. You mentioned each function has sustainability built into the way they're doing business. So really like to hear more about the governance model at large, and maybe what are some of the values that you've seen from having that structure in place?
Yeah, for sure. So the two-tier governance model is we basically have two committees. The governance committee has members of our executive team on it. And then we have our steering committee, which is members from different departments within the organization. So the job of the governance team is to set targets and communicate expectations. And the job of the steering committee is to roll out those initiatives. So we figure out the inner workings of, now how do I implement this into our business to reach those targets? And then once we figure out these are the resources I need, then we go back to the governance committee and ask for those additional resources. So that has been, I think, really integral in establishing that management system and building it into our company. So, you talked about the benefits of it. I mean, it has been really big for our customers. Obviously, they now have a lot of trust in us as their business partner. They do help us set a lot of goals and our improvement opportunities or challenges that our customers bring to us, so we can partner with them and work on those challenges together. But as I mentioned, we have now integrated that into every aspect of our business, and our leadership team has been really big in helping drive that culture shift for us.
Yeah, that having the leadership buy-in is so valuable. That really can drive change at a much faster rate than without it, for sure. I do want to stick on this idea of the EcoVadis journey, and Rachel, I want to hand it to you to talk about maybe if a company is just starting out with EcoVadis, just starting out with sustainability, what are some starting points that you would recommend to a company?
Sure. So our process at 3R, whenever we're working with a prospective client or a client, current client, is to understand where the company is at in their sustainability journey. And so starting with a gap assessment, where you assess the current state of the company, its policies, its documentation, its data, against what EcoVadis assessment asks for, as well as general best practices, can really help define where to start. In general, we find that companies earlier on in their journeys tend to, as Maryam described in the earlier days when Rings started on EcoVadis, companies tend maybe to have things in place, but not necessarily formally documented. And EcoVadis, as an evidence-based assessment, relies on having documentation. In general, that's best practice to have as well. So a starting spot that we begin with many clients earlier on in their journey is formalizing policies. So working with the client to understand, especially in the themes that EcoVadis uses around sustainability, as those are sometimes less likely to already have a formal policy in place. So an environmental policy, a sustainable procurement policy, et cetera. Within those themes, what is the company committed to? What are its values? Who at the company or which department is responsible for overseeing that commitment and any actions taken in that space? really trying to formalize those elements. I think policy writing, updating, formalizing, etc., is a great first place to start. And it can also then be used to help guide the actions that are taken and the reporting and etc. So it can be a great place to start there.
Yeah, totally agree. The policies are like the foundation. Make sure everyone's moving in the same direction, having those commitments in place. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So I want to talk a bit about some of the challenges, and then after that, maybe talk about some of the benefits of the work that we're doing here. So Maryam, could you talk about some of the challenges that you all have had to overcome over the past 2-3 years?
Yeah, I mean, for one, we did not have the expertise in-house. So having a company as a consulting firm to help us navigate a world that is constantly changing and the requirements are changing. So navigating the incoming EPR laws and PCR usage in our container. So that's one of the challenges, the recent challenges that we have faced. But starting out our journey, we did not know how to best utilize our internal resources. So, when we brought 3R on, we recognized that we needed a single point of contact who can be on the steering committee and on the governance team and also be the point of contact for our customers. So my job was created through that need because we realized we needed dedicated resources that can focus on sustainability. So that is what taught us to better utilize our existing resources and adding a person for that. And then now we've gotten to a point where the inner workings of our governance committee and steering committee, it's been a lot more smooth when a new request comes in or an improvement opportunity. Now we know where to start. So that has been one of the challenges that we've been able to overcome. The other one is we had a lot of existing data that we did not know how to utilize. So we would set a target for ourselves, and at the end of the year, we go back and check and see where we are, and it's too late to do anything now if I didn't meet that target. So continuously monitoring our data and the dashboard that we have created with 3R's help to look at our progress. Throughout the year, meeting with the committees continuously and checking on our progress. So I would say those have been the biggest ones.
Yeah, amazing. Rachel, I'm going to hit it right to you. Talk about any other common challenges or really just overall your reaction to that.
Fully agree with everything Maryam had mentioned. The data piece can be a challenge. Sometimes the data that EcoVadis or other sustainability platforms or standards, rating systems, etc., are asking for is not data that's already being tracked, or sometimes it is being tracked, but you have to locate where that's being tracked, who's owning that data, and just the whole process too. So there's tracking it, but then there's also analyzing it. And as Maryam was mentioning, more of the real-time trend analysis to be able to catch things early and really have your kind of finger on the pulse, so to speak, of how things are going. And it's moving away from the retroactive year end, let's write our sustainability report. Oh, wow, there's a big surprise. We want to eliminate surprises and really be kind of more consistently on top of data tracking. So getting those systems set up can be a challenge at first of figuring out how to track data in the event it's not yet being tracked, or just how to streamline processes and make it more efficient. We've talked a lot about Ring's governance structure, but that I can't speak highly enough of how critical that has been on. We review the data dashboard every month. The committee has members, as Maryam mentioned, from across departments at Ring, HR, Maryam with safety, innovation, procurement, etc. It's a wide-ranging group, and so not only can we see what the data is telling us, but we can dive in deeper to the why, and just have that regular touch point. The other piece I would mention as a challenge that we can see come up across clients is, while EcoVadis is tailored. Your questionnaire is tailored based on your industry, your locations, and the company size. There are sometimes going to be questions that come up that may not feel directly applicable to your business, or you might think this doesn't really make sense for us. And so sometimes there's a bit of a tension between, what is right for the business and what EcoVadis is asking for. And at the end of the day, 3R's ethos, the way that we work, is adding business value. And so that is the ultimate. All of this should be working together. You're doing these actions not just to improve your EcoVadis score, which is a very great outcome that a lot of companies want and we want to support companies with, but moreover to increase the value for your business. And so what I've found across clients is that when we focus on the actions that increase business value, it does then result in an improved EcoVadis score as one of the many benefits with it. So I would say if anyone feels a bit discouraged or caught up in certain selections in the EcoVadis assessment that you don't feel like makes sense for your business, you don't have to select every single thing in the assessment. Focus in on what really is adding value to your business.
Great, thank you both. I wanted to just add one quick point on the data, being prepared with the data, being prepared with the governance structure. A lot of our clients talk about the consistent customer requests around sustainability, and having specifically those two in place allows you to be more proactive, a little bit less reactionary. So that's just my personal view on it. I wanted to add in. So I want to flip the coin a little bit. We talked about the challenges, and I want to transition to some of the benefits of sustainability management systems, EcoVadis, all of that. So I do I'll hand it to Rachel first to talk about what some of these benefits you're seeing about sustainability management systems. This slide here, I think, illustrates well.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. So lots of benefits to a sustainability management system. I'll focus in on the side of the screen where the outputs there are, but for sustainability management systems, meeting stakeholder expectations with it, which I think fits in so well with what you just mentioned, Josh, about customers being one of those stakeholders. Having this management system in place allows you to have more streamlined and quick responses often to customer requests, but thinking about even outside of customers, if there's investor requests, other rating systems, internally with your employees, suppliers, et cetera. We think of stakeholders as anyone who could be impacted by the business. So if they have requests or expectations, this is a great way to have a proactive system in place for responding to the many asks that you might be getting. Effective decision making, really having that monitoring of your data can, we focus in on decision useful data. And so the idea being that you're tracking this data to then make effective decisions that lead you towards your company's goals. The added business value, we've talked about that quite a bit. In general, when we're setting those goals and company aspirations, it's to get to the added value that you want to see out of your business. Data and disclosures, we've talked about quite a bit. I'll put my sustainability reporting hat on for a second. If you are aligning a sustainability report with any of the sustainability disclosure standards that exist, you can build in as part of your process when you're collecting data for EcoVadis, also the disclosures that you will need to be in accordance with the sustainability reporting standard that you're adopting. And then we've talked a lot about Ring internally and their own operations, but supply chain is very much a part, and I would even go as far as say value chain, both upstream and downstream is very much a part of a sustainability program. The procurement members on the steering committee for Ring are instrumental. We have our own KPIs that we're looking at for that. Sustainable procurement's a theme on the EcoVadis assessment. So there's a lot that a company has direct control over, but there's a lot of influence that a company can have across their value chain. And so that's a piece that a sustainability management system can build in as well of where those leverage points are. So a lot of words on this slide because there's a lot of value from a sustainability management system.
Thanks, Rachel. Maryam, to you, could you talk about some of the benefits that Ring has seen by enhancing your sustainability program, and maybe talk about achieving the medal, the platinum medal as well?
Sure. Yeah, I will echo everything that Rachel said. I do want to touch on one thing she mentioned is that we need to stay true to our company and our values. So I know EcoVadis throws a lot at you in the beginning, but a big part of the governance committee's job is to make sure that we're staying true to who we are and where are we bringing value back to our business. So everything that we have done has been with that thought in mind. And so I think the biggest benefit we've seen is the trust of our current and future customers. They are a big part of our improvements, but also, when you look at energy efficiency, you see cost reduction in certain areas. Of course, something like safety is very big for our company already. So a lot of it has been, these are the right things to do in our business. And I'm seeing the benefits from EcoVadis as well. So the progression of metals from bronze to silver to gold to now platinum is really showing how we have improved our overall sustainability business model and where we have seen value come back to our business. So yeah, that's been every place that we've put effort in has been beneficial to our business. And then the cherry on top is the EcoVadis medal.
I love that, the cherry on top. So I do see we're getting close on time here. I want to make sure we have an opportunity for audience questions, but one last question for each of you. If you could just reflect back on the past 2 to 3 years, if you could maybe pull out one or two of the most noteworthy changes or improvements that you've seen, really trying to hone in on giving advice, recommendations for the audience to put in place. I'll start with Maryam. Sorry, that's
sure.
Maryam, take it away.
Sure. Yeah, two things for us. I would say one is adding a single point of contact. Having a dedicated resource to sustainability has been a big part of seeing those improvements. And the second one is a very forward-thinking leadership team who continuously challenges us to improve.
Rachel?
My answer is very similar. So I started working with Ring before Maryam's current role was a role at Ring. And so seeing the shift of once a dedicated sustainability and safety role was created, it's just been very instrumental. I do know that not every company has the resources or makes sense to have a single dedicated role in sustainability. So did also want to emphasize that there's a role to play from many different parts. And with Ring, I think it works very well having, as Maryam mentioned, the bought-in leadership team, the interaction across teams through their dedicated governance structure, Maryam's dedicated role, having a third-party consultant as well to play our role. So I wouldn't say it's critical that you have a dedicated role, but at the same time, seeing that not having it to having it from Ring, it made a huge difference. And so just defining roles and responsibilities and building an accountability, I think is the most kind of critical piece.
Yeah, the ownership thing, for sure. Okay, thank you both for all of your answers throughout. I do want to make sure the audience has some questions for you. So we'll bring Preston back on the screen here. And Preston, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, got a couple questions. The first one is probably for Maryam. If a company is just starting their journey, where would you suggest they begin?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple things. Buy-in needs to happen from the top down. So having that culture where there's emphasis put on sustainability is going to be really important. And if you can to dedicate a single point of contact at least when it comes to customer requests and just managing the overall system. And I would say to hire experts. There is a lot of, I think it can be really overwhelming when you get into the world of sustainability, and having 3R as a firm who have experts in all different fields of sustainability, I would need a department of probably 5 or 6 people internally to navigate that. So as a lean company, for us, hiring the outside resource was a really great place to start.
Thank you. Next question, maybe for Josh, is EcoVadis here to stay? There have been so many sustainability questionnaires throughout the years, and they want our opinion on if it's here to stay.
In short, yes. It's only you can see the numbers of submissions continuing to grow month to month, quarter to quarter. It's becoming more and more popular in the marketplace. And I think that's going to continue, especially with increased regulation and needing to have a better understanding of your supply chain. And at the heart of it, that's what EcoVadis's mission is for the requesting companies to be able to understand the business practices of their suppliers, and then that their suppliers kind of work the way through the value chain there. So I certainly don't see that going away as a macro trend. So in long, that's the answer. In short, yes, here to stay.
Yeah, I agree. We see it growing all the time. And I think the only thing I'd add is, even if it were to go away, the backbone of EcoVadis being a system for kind of sustainability management system is not going away, and it's going to drive value. Rachel, how do sustainability management systems align with things like ISO 14001, et cetera?
Sure. So ISO 14001 is an environmental management system standard. It can be, you can get a certification to be ISO 14001 certified. Some people on the call may be familiar with 9001, which is more about quality management. And Maryam is familiar with the 45001, the health and safety management system. And so for a sustainability management system, a word that I think I've used a couple times on this call is the holistic. So it really is similar in the way that EcoVadis looks at sustainability across labor and human rights, environment, ethics, sustainable procurement, as opposed to a singular certified management system like 14001, which is an environmental management system. A sustainability management system is much broader in terms of encompassing more than just environment or energy or just health and safety, et cetera. I will say that the sort of frameworks and the processes that go into those other management systems that I stated, so having controls, having management reviews, et cetera, those are all the same pieces to a sustainability management system. So if you do have ISO 14001 certification or other ISO certifications, you are well positioned in knowing the processes and the procedures and sort of the way to structure a management system. And that can very much be applied then on a more integrated and broader scale to go across sustainability fully.
A quick follow-up. Does having 14001 help improve your EcoVadis score?
Yes, there is an opportunity to report that. So one of the indicators within EcoVadis is certifications. It falls under the reporting piece. I'll have Josh fact check me if I misstate anything here. And one of the themes is environment. So having an ISO 14001 certification would be a huge help in that reporting for the certification indicator. I'm picturing the, if anyone has seen the matrix that EcoVadis does of breaking down the score, certification indicator under the environment theme. ISO 14001 certification would go far on that. And I would say all the component pieces that then go into actually being able to get certified for ISO 14001 could help throughout that environmental theme. Josh, please add anything there if needed.
You got it. All good.
Got a couple more. I think we'll have time for one or two more. Maryam, did the sustainability management start as a part-time job function of one employee at the beginning? Did EcoVadis kick that off, or was it before EcoVadis came in as a request?
Yeah, so it did become, it went to one of our departments where the department head and another employee, both with full-time jobs, decided to take on this challenge. I will say that was the request with EcoVadis was kind of the building block of where our journey started. So yes, it was part-time for 2 people. And it obviously became overwhelming. So, and we as an organization saw that we have gone as far as we could with the people we already had in place, where their focus had to be elsewhere. So that's when we decided to have a dedicated resource.
Thank you. I think we have time for one more. Josh or Rachel, one of you put your hand up. What strategy would you use to get a larger company to comply with all the requests that come in terms of conforming to sustainability goals? I think the question is, if there's a bunch of requests coming in, how do we help our clients kind of streamline?
Yeah, I'll start and then maybe hand it over to Rachel because my response is very directly related to what she does on a day-to-day. And sustainability reporting, I think, is the best way to be transparent. Having those public-facing reports tells your story, and it's an opportunity to really point those customer requests, at least some of them, to your report. I'll pause there. Rachel, if there's anything you want to add to that.
No, that is what I kind of live and breathe these days is sustainability reporting. There's so much value in putting out sustainability reports, for this being one of the primary use cases. But we'll also say not to downplay the number of requests, because I see it. There are many requests across different platforms and et cetera. I could list a lot of things there. What we do often see is there's overlap between requests. So sometimes once you get into it, something that you've already reported on for EcoVadis can be applied to insert other request here. So acknowledging many requests coming in, but something that large companies can do is see where those overlaps are, which can help to identify, going back to the data piece and policies, but just like what to have in place where you're getting kind of more of a like bang for your buck, so to speak. If you have the same topic being asked about in many different places, that would be one to prioritize having a ready to go response for.
Thank you. I know there are a few more questions in the Q&A and in the chat, so we'll follow up afterwards because we're running out of time right now. But thank you so much for everyone's engagement.
Yeah, just to echo that, thank you, Rachel and Maryam, for your time today and willingness to be panelists. I know I learned a lot, and hopefully the group did as well. But as Preston said, we'll follow up with the questions. If there's any additional specific questions on management systems, EcoVadis, feel free to reach out to us through our website or other means. But in the end, thank you all, and have a good rest of your day.